Today we're going to be doing a little how-to tutorial talking about that dreaded M. There it is, that little guy over there. That M stands for manual, which means that you do everything. A little bit off topic, but it's super important. This little area right here, don't ever let dust get in there. So TV, time value, we mostly know it as speed, and that's just how long we tell the camera to keep the shutter open for. So, to change the shutter speed, you'll just turn this dial. So this is what 5/100th of a second sounds like. And this is what half a second sounds like. This is what 5 seconds sounds like. Camera's getting heavy.
That was fun.
Next up we're going to chat about AV, that being the aperture value, but we know that mostly as depth of field. So depth of field is basically you telling the camera what and how much you want in focus. So let's wrap our heads around f-stop. The lower the f-stop, we're going to start to see a lot more blur in the background, focusing on the object. You start to up that f-stop, there's a lot more of the background in focus as well as the object. So let's take a look at this photo that has a really low f-stop, and then we can compare it to this photo which has a slightly higher f-stop. So basically you need to decide before you take that photo how much you're wanting in focus and how much of that background that you want blurred. Alright, let's chat a little bit about shutter speed. So you and your friends are out and about, and it's the end of the evening and you decide you need to take a little photo, but you only really realize the next day that it's a little bit blurry. That's motion blur. So the rule of thumb here when dealing with motion blur is to try and set your shutter speed at 500 or above. So at around 500 and above, a water drop will be frozen in the air. So this is what a photo looks like when it's shot at 500 or above, but this is where we start to see motion blur when we shoot at 50th of a second. So if it's a little bit dark and you need to shoot below 500, just make sure that you keep your camera super still or get yourself a tripod. Lastly, let's touch on ISO. So the ISO is setting your camera's sensitivity to light. So in layman's terms, the darker the room, the higher the ISO. The lighter the room, the lower the ISO. But here's the catch. The higher you set your ISO, the more grain there is going to be in the photo. So take a look at the ISO that we've set at 100 and what that will do for the photo. But then also take a look at the ISO when it's set at 3200 and how that translates into the photo. So I hope you enjoyed my basic how-to. Get out there, take some photos, experiment a little bit. It's not as hard as you think, it just takes time. Enjoy.